Greetings to everyone out there in virtual reality. This is your friend Oba Omi, and this is the next episode of Oba Omi Says. Thank you so much for coming every week to support me on my podcast. And let's go ahead and get into our housekeeping and intro. First and foremost, like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell for post notifications so you can be updated with everything going on over here at Oba Omi Says. Secondly, go ahead and schedule your year reading. We're in the last month of the first quarter, March, third month in the first quarter. So if you are still interested in getting a reading to know the energy around you for the year, definitely schedule your year reading with me. You can reach out to me on any of my social medias to get that scheduled. Also, I will be having my calendar for readings up soon, so you guys can actually just go straight to my calendar link and register for your time to do your reading that way. And thirdly, I would like to say this is the new phase, the second phase of Oba Omi Says, so there will be a different format to the episode. Some of the things that I usually report on in some of the previous episodes will now be posted individually on my social media pages. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, be sure to go follow me on those platforms so you can stay abreast with all the different things that I report on. But there is a slightly different format to phase 2 in the new episode, so we're gonna see how this phase goes, and we have a new section as well, so keep that in mind as we move forward with Oba Omi Says into the future. And last but not least, all the chapters are in the description for this episode. So if you don't have time to watch the full entire episode at once, you can easily expand the description, as you can see here on the video, and you can expand the description and just pick and choose what you would like to listen to, and it'll take you directly to that part of the episode. So let's go ahead and get into this episode of Oba Omi Says. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and get into phase 2 of Oba Omi Says with the top of the show leading off with our pop culture and entertainment news, now featuring our celebrity news in the Billboard Hot 100 report. So that's going to be it right now for pop culture and entertainment news in phase 2 of Oba Omi Says, you guys. So keep that in mind as we move forward into the show. So first up on our celebrity news, we have Maury Povich retiring from daily talk show after 31 years. Veteran daytime talk show host Maury Povich is retiring, with the last original episodes of Maury set for broadcast in September after 31 years on the air. NBC Universal confirmed the impending exit of the 83-year-old Povich on Monday. Old episodes are likely to live on in some form. However, with the company saying that the show has thousands of lively, entertaining, and dramatic episodes that will continue to be successful in daytime for years to come. I'm so proud of my relationship with NBC Universal and all those who worked on the Maury show. But I occasionally tell my guests on Maury, enough already, he said. His show hit upon a successful formula many years ago and has stuck with it, using tests to reveal on the air the fathers of babies where paternity is in question, or lie detectors to see if a spouse is cheating or not. So you guys, Maury is retiring, you guys. That's going to be funny. I guess Jerry Springer going to have to step up now. Jerry Springer been doing his thing, but now that Maury, he was like the original Jerry Springer, now Jerry's going to have to step up. Now, sidebar, you guys, do y'all remember, maybe this is a Mandela effect, and maybe one day I'll go over Mandela effect so y'all don't know what it is. But if you don't know what it is, go Google it real quick and find out what a Mandela effect is. But sidebar to the Maury situation. Do you all remember when Jerry Springer died? Or maybe I'm just remembering, but I swear it was a point where Jerry Springer was dead and they had announced it and everything, but all of a sudden Jerry Springer started coming back out with new episodes. So, I don't know, that's crazy, guys. But yeah, so I don't want to say Maury had died, but I am shocked that he's been doing this for 31 years, you guys. So, he's putting in his time with all that drama that was produced on that show. So it is what it is. But, I wish him the best in his retirement, and hopefully daytime will hopefully get some more positive things on daytime TV other than stuff like Maury and Jerry Springer and Wendy and soap operas and all this other stuff. So, we don't know. But, congratulations to Maury for his long, rich career in daytime TV, and much success to him in his future endeavors and his retirement. Moving right. Oh, you guys, let me know what y'all think about that. Were y'all planning on going to get a paternity test from Maury? Let me know what y'all think about this whole situation in the comments, because y'all not going to be able to go no more. So let me know what you think in the comments. Moving right on along to our next piece of celebrity news. Michael Jackson Broadway musical to launch 2023 national tour. The show will hit 17 major cities after kicking off in Chicago of 2023. The new splashy Broadway musical about Michael Jackson is going to moonwalk across America next year. MJ, packed with dozens of songs by the King of Pop and others, plans to hit 17 major cities over 2 years starting in 2023. It kicks off in Chicago at the James and Nederlander Theater on July 15, 2023. We are thrilled by the Broadway response to MJ, and that we are already deep in preparations to bring this exhilarating show to Chicago and across the United States, said producer Leah Volek in a statement. Chicago is a premier theater and music destination, and we are excited to be able to begin this journey in one of the Nederlander organization's most beautiful venues. Additional tour engagements and complete cast will be announced at a later date. The tour will include a previously revealed 2-week engagement at the Blumenthal Performing Arts Center in Charlotte, North Carolina from September 26 to October 8, 2023. You guys, well, they have a Michael Jackson musical. I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, I'm all for, acknowledging the life of Michael Jackson and things. I'm just wondering, who is the money going to? Who has the royalties for this? Who commissioned this? This is all just very strange to me. But I mean, I guess it's nice. I mean, I don't know if I would want a musical about my life after I died with my music in it. I think it should just suffice enough for people to just listen to my music, but I don't know, y'all. Maybe I might go catch it when they come to Charlotte, North Carolina, you guys. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe if it's a big thing. I mean, I'm sure it'll be nice to hear a lot of MJ classics. I don't know how the casting's going to go. Like, are they going to cast a man or a woman? Because, Michael Jackson has a very high range. Like, are they going to cast a light-skinned person or a dark-skinned person? Like, I just, it's so many questions that I have, like, that I don't know, you guys, about a Michael Jackson musical. Like, I really don't know. So, you guys got to let me know what y'all think about this. Are y'all here for the Michael Jackson musical? Because I'm not sure if I am right now. Let me know what you all think about this Michael Jackson musical that's supposed to be premiering next year in the comments. And lastly, for our celebrity news, is everybody's favorite Gemini, Kanye West. Petition to remove Kanye West from Coachella lineup gets 26,000 signatures. Coachella, along with other brand names that are still working with him, should be ashamed of themselves and should not be giving him any more of a platform, the petition reads. Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, is set to headline Day 3 of Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival next month. Due to his relentless social media shots at estranged wife Kim Kardashian, her new boyfriend Pete Davidson, and Trevor Noah, amongst many others, a Change.org petition has been launched to remove the rapper from the festival lineup. We have watched Kanye harass, manipulate, and hurt Kim, Pete, and others for over a year now. The petition, launched by user Carmelo Marie reads, "No one seems to want to stand up to him, and the ones that do, he puts under fire as well. Most recently, he has been threatening actual bodily harm on others. This is ridiculous that he is allowed to freely do this. Coachella, along with other brand names that are still working with him, should be ashamed of themselves and should not be giving him any more of a platform." You guys and your Change.org petitions. I just, I mean, this lady, she must really not, I mean, and so my first question is, how many people does Coachella host? Is it 26,000? Are these signatures signed by the people that are going to be the attendees of Coachella? I'm trying to figure out what, like, you know, or is this one random woman just trying to shame a brand? Like, it's giving me real Karen kind of vibes. Like, you know, talking about why would they allow him to threaten people? Like, how many people threaten people in open public all the time via social media or just out on the streets? Like, children in schools, people at their workplaces, they're always threatening bodily harm. Who's not doing that? Parents of children do that to their children daily. So, I mean, this woman must really have time on her hands. And she got 26,000 signatures, you know, so I guess, you guys, I mean, it's a month away, and I doubt any of these people that signed the 26,000 signatures were even going to Coachella in the first place, so I don't even know what the point of this is. If Coachella feels the need to do something, it's like, I guess, but why are you allowing a random group of people, 26,000 people that weren't paying to come to Coachella anyway, dictate what's going to happen at Coachella? To me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, I'm not endorsing Kanye's foolishness by any means. I'm just saying all of this seems foolish. Like, the woman seems just as foolish as she's trying to make Kanye seem by doing this, because I don't think it's that serious. She simply could have just not went. Like, I don't know if she's a Coachella, like, sponsor, or I don't know what she is or why she feels the need to do this, but I need some answers, because none of this is making sense to me, you guys. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being, I don't know, contrarian or something. So you guys gotta let me know what you think about this in the comment. Are you all trying to get Kanye removed from the Coachella lineup? Are y'all gonna sign this petition? Is it that serious to you? Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments. Alright guys, for our last portion of our pop culture entertainment segment, we're going to feature the Billboard Hot 100 for the previous week. We're going to talk about what's hot and what's not on Billboard, you guys. So that is our last feature under the pop culture and entertainment news segment in the new format of Oba Omi Says. We're going to talk about Billboard. So let's talk about the Hot 100, you guys. So this is an interesting week because we're having a little bit of some changes going on around here on the Hot 100, you guys. And remember, the Hot 100 on Billboard is singles, like the hottest singles right now in America. So in North America particularly. So right now, Glass Animals is number one, guys, with Heat Waves. They I think they've been number one before, but they're back up here to number one. So that's interesting because, Encanto, we don't talk about Bruno, has finally been knocked down. Of course, that had been up for a while. And Adele, too. Those were kind of the two top contenders all year. So it's interesting to see things switching up and people wanting to vibe a little bit differently right now. So that's number one, Glass Animals with Heat Wave. Number two, Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber with Stay has moved up to number two. They was just number 5 last week, so they kind of moved up. Kodak Black with Super Gremlin is number 3. Oh gosh, y'all, so much going on with Kodak Black. We might have to do a whole nother episode on him and all the type of stuff he got going on, but we'll talk about that soon. We got Gail with ABCDEFU at number 4. They're holding it down. Right, she's holding it down right there. We don't talk about Bruno. It's still in the top 10, you guys. So it's just number 5 now. So it kind of is dropping drastically, and Encanto has had a good run, so, Then number 6, we got Ghost by Justin Bieber moving up. Adele is still here in the top 10 too, but she moved down to number 7 with Easy on Me, you guys. So, then we got Enemy by Imagine Dragons at number 8. Lil Nas X moved back. He's moving up with That's What I Want, which is so funny because I'm not even like. I'll talk about that in a second. And then we got number 10. We got Bad Habits by Ed Sheeran. So, some other interesting things, Big Lotto's coming up with Big Energy. Well, she's in the top 20 with Big Energy at number 14. That new Megan Thee Stallion and Dua Lipa song is new on the charts at number 15, which I didn't really like that song. But I guess they're playing it somewhere. I don't know. Lil Durk just released, and he's number 18 with A.K.A. He just released his album. So we got some interesting movement on the charts. But what I was about to say is, like, I guess Lil Nas X, who's listening to him? Like, I didn't think people was really into that like that. But I don't, like, and this is another thing I'd be wanting to ask y'all when it comes to the charts. What do you all buy and what do you not buy, like, about the charts? Like, do you actually hear this stuff in the playlist on your music providers, your streaming platforms? You hear this on the radio if you listen to the radio? Like, because a lot of this stuff I just don't hear. But, they're number one, they're all these things, and it's just like, what? So, this is interesting. I do listen to hip-hop radio kind of often, so I do hear Kodak Black and some other artists like Lil Durk and stuff. And when I listen to pop radio, I do hear Kid Laroi and Justin Bieber with Stay. I hear that a lot. A lot of these other songs, maybe I don't know them or recognize them, but I'm just like, what? So, just to touch on a couple of other things, on the Billboard 200, Lil Durk just entered at number 1, so he premiered his new album at number 1, 7220, so that was a good one for Lil Durk. And we just got some other interesting movement on some of the other charts as well. Lil Durk is also the number 1 artist. Now, you guys, I'm not into Lil Durk like that. Like, I don't understand what's the hype. A lot of people thought his music wasn't all that, but I know a lot of younger people really like it. For me, he just sounds like, I don't know, like the way his voice sounds. And maybe this is like cliche and stereotyping people, but because he sounds so proper, I just don't buy it. Anything that he's saying, especially when he's trying to be like hard and like talk about street stuff, I don't really buy it coming from him. Just from the way that he enunciates, like, but not to say somebody that's gangster or hardcore couldn't enunciate, not to say that, but I just don't buy it, you guys. I don't know, I kind of feel like he's taking a lot of King Von's energy now that he's gone. And, like, I think King Von, like, he was known to be a offender of many crimes and things like that. But even that just seemed unusual. All this kind of seems staged and, like, they're, like, the hip-hop industry, they want a certain image for certain people that are charting. And they're pushing for that image, whether it's real or whether it's made up. But, I don't know. Y'all got to tell me what y'all think. Are y'all here for Lil Durk charting number 1 on the artist chart? Are y'all here for all? Do y'all hear these songs that I mentioned in the top 100, the Hot 100? Is this a proper representation of what you all are experiencing in lifetime? Maybe I don't listen to enough pop and hip hop and R&B radio or like listen to the playlists and things, but it's just not it for me, you guys. But we're gonna kind of get into some more of this Billboard stuff as we continue to go on into the new phase of Oba Omi Says as well. So we're gonna leave that here with the Hot 100, you guys, on Billboard for the week, and we're gonna go ahead and move on to our next segment. All right, guys, moving right on along to our world news segment. Our world news segment now features, of course, U.S. and world news, but a little bit shorter than it might have been in the past. So the world news segment is pretty much the same, but we're just going to kind of get to the nitty-gritty of what might have been the most important, or at least the most important to Oba Omi for the past week. So let's go ahead and get into the world news, you guys, and we'll start off with some U.S. news. So the first piece of news that I have coming from the U.S. is time to retool Census. Some think so after minorities missed. Is it time to rethink the census and other surveys that measure changes in the U.S. population? Policymakers and demographers have been asking that question since results released by the U.S. Census Bureau this month showed Black, Hispanic, American Indian, and other minority residents were undercounted at great rates in 2020 than in previous decades. On top of that, the results from a version of its most comprehensive survey that compares year-to-year changes in the U.S. life had to be mostly scrapped because disruptions caused by the pandemic produced fewer responses in 2020. The current model of coming up with the master address list, mailing everybody an invitation, like you're inviting people to a party, hoping they respond, and if not, you're going to track them down. I think it's an obsolete system, says Arturo Vargas, CEO of Nelio Educational Fund, a nonprofit that supports Latino political engagement. The undercounts in the 2020 census were blamed on the pandemic, natural disaster, and political interference from the Trump administration. But undercounts of racial and ethnic minorities are nothing new to the census. They've been persistent for decades. Well, you guys, there you have it. I do not believe in filling out the census. Personally, I hate to say it, but, sue me, all you guys that are census supporters, but for what? I think for me, and I study genealogy and history, so I do use census records when I do family history and archiving and things like that, when I do my own family and for others. But one thing that I've learned from studying the census is that it's a tool of rewriting history. It's interesting that they said how the minorities were the ones affected a lot on this last census, even though that has persisted throughout decades. But at the end of the day, they, misclassify minorities. They call them whatever, they call people African American, when most people, if they go to actually look up their records, they don't actually have Africans in their family at all. And there's no evidence of their family ever being from Africa, other than these DNA tests, which we'll have to talk about on another episode, because, that's definitely for entertainment purposes only, and I'll get into that, one of these days. But no, there's no real, it's a misnomer. It's a misclassification to call people African Americans, Hispanics, all these things. And then it's funny that they even mention American Indians as if there's more than people that's on these Native American reservations, because this whole thing is just interesting to me, you guys. But as the guy, Mr. Vargas, said from that educational fund, I do think that whole thing is obsolete. They don't really outline the purpose of it. It's just a thing to do, just for them to count and measure people. There's nothing coming to the communities that I've seen in any type of substantial or effective way because of the census. Because of them knowing the people in the area. There hasn't, in the places that I go, there's still potholes. Places that I visit all over the country, there's still, the roads are messed up, the houses are still torn down, all these other things. But the census is supposed to allegedly bring awareness to what's going on in these communities so that they can improve. Get out of here. GTFOH. If you all know what that means. So, get out of here and, miss me with all that. I would not be opposed to doing something that was effective, but for me, I don't really see any effectivity in the census. And I do appreciate the census being available, even though many of my ancestors in my own family didn't really participate in it, because there's a lot of disappearing people out of my family on the census, when they became of age to be adults. But I knew that they lived into adulthood. Their names were misspelled. People just spelled their names any kind of way. Hell, my ancestors might have just gave them some fake names or something. I don't even know. But people just don't have trust for the census, and I stand in agreement with that. And it just is what it is. You guys gotta let me know what you all think about this. Did you all fill out the census? Did you all participate? What do you think about it? Do you think that you're seeing any benefits to anything from the census? Because I'm definitely not. You guys let me know what you all think about that in the comments. And moving right on along to our last piece of news here in the World News segment. So this is definitely a world news piece. right here. So this is literally dealing with the whole entire world. So this says hot poles, Antarctic and Arctic, 70 and 50 degrees above normal. Earth's poles are undergoing simultaneous, freakish, extreme heat, with parts of the Antarctic more than 70 degrees warmer than average, and areas of the Arctic more than 50 degrees warmer than average. That's crazy. It's 7 degrees in the Antarctic and 50 degrees in the Arctic. Weather stations in Antarctica shattered records Friday as the region neared autumn. Weather stations in Antarctica shattered record Fridays as the region neared autumn. So, you know, the seasons are different in the lower hemisphere, so they're nearing autumn. The 2-mile high Concordia station was at 10 degrees, which is about 70 degrees warmer than average, while the even higher Vostok station hit a shade of above 0 degrees, beating its all-time record by about 27 degrees, according to a tweet from Extreme Weather Record tracked by Maximiliano Herrera. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. The coastal Terra Nova base was far above freezing at 44 degrees. It caught officials at the National Snow and Ice Data Center in Boulder, Colorado by surprise, because they were paying attention to the Arctic, where it was 50 degrees warmer than average, and areas around the North Pole were nearing or at the melting point, which is really unusual for mid-March, said the Center Ice Sciences. Well, you guys, y'all are warming up this planet. Looks like we're headed to be just like Venus, the planet Venus. And in case you guys don't know about Venus, go look up the runaway greenhouse gas effect that is allegedly happening on our planet, but definitely happened on the planet Venus, because they said it was an Earth-like planet before greenhouse gases created a broiling pot. So all the elements on Venus ended up just trapping the heat up under the Venusian atmosphere and just broiling the planet. So it's uninhabitable by a human species, or by most species that can't live in extreme heat conditions. So, you know, that's interesting, you guys. I don't even know what to say about this. This is crazy. You know, I think that Mother Nature will do what she needs to do to rebalance herself. So whatever that means for us as humanity is, I guess, just what it means, you guys. If, I don't know, we have to go extinct to get through, for Mother Nature to get through this, but that might be a thing. I don't know, you guys. 70 degrees and 50 degrees is a lot. That's a whole lot, you guys. So I don't know. I want you guys to let me know what you all think about these poles and what's going on in the North and the South Pole, the Arctic and the Antarctic. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this and our other article from the World News segment in the comments. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and get into our next section. Our next section is our spiritual perspective section, our new and improved and slightly shortened spiritual perspective section. So what are we going to do now? We're going to pretty much just do the meme analysis and the spiritual perspectives, and also our astrology and the spiritual perspective. So that's what we have going on right now in phase 2 of Oba Omi Says, you guys. So let's go ahead and get started with our meme analysis and take a look at what we have here. So first up, we have our title meme, our title meme for the actual episode. So this says, I do not stand with Russia. I do not stand with Ukraine. I do not stand with NATO. I do not stand with the UN. I stand with the people in each country who are held hostage by governments that start wars, destroy economies, and subjugate our lives. Such a powerful statement, you guys. I mean, I've kind of talked about this in the past few episodes, but you know, it's always so much more going on behind the scenes in these wars and all this stuff that's going on, you guys. And at the end of the day, there are real people on the ground that have nothing to do with any of this. And they, of course, if somebody's in Ukraine, they're like, oh, stop, you know, they're like, stop attacking us and stuff like that. And there's this whole push in America to, like, you know, really dissuade people from the Russians from doing stuff. But at the end of the day, I think that all the government involvement just needs to be just, you know, eradicated. Like this says, the government's holding the peaceful hostage, whether it's the Russians or the Ukrainians, whether it's NATO holding people hostage or the UN. They're the ones that are causing this. It's the governmental officials and the ego and the pride associated with all these positions. So these are personal vendettas, and now people are really being held hostage and subjugated and having their economies destroyed. So that's who I stand with, you guys. I think, you know, I hope nobody gets offended by this, because I'm not trying to be anti anything, but who I stand with is the actual people. Like, I know a lot of the people, the everyday laymen and women, like, they don't know nothing about what's going on. They probably don't even know why Russia's there in Ukraine. You know, the Russian soldiers probably don't even know why they're there. Like, you know, all this has to do with things that are so outside of our scope of view, you guys, that we might never even know about. You know, there might be a documentary that comes out in about a decade really talking about the real deal behind all this. So who knows, you guys. So let it be known who I stand with, and I stand with those who are held hostage by governments that start wars. All governments, basically, that start wars, destroy economies, and subjugate our lives. So that's that on that meme, you guys. So let's go ahead and move on to our next one. So the next one, I have two other quotes real quick. So let's talk about the other two. So the next one is a quote by George Carlin, and it says, "Never underestimate the power of stupid people in large groups." Now, I definitely can say this because, you know, the reality of it is, and I don't mean to call people stupid, but people that, you know, think a certain way, a lot of times, let's say ignorant. Let's replace the word stupid with ignorant. So sometimes when people are ignorant and they don't have the eyes or the mind to perceive things that are beyond their scope of sight or perception, you know, there tends to be more people, other people that think just like them. So when these ignorant, or as this quote says, stupid people gather together in large groups, it can create a certain kind of energy where that energy is dominated, like the ignorant thought, or what he's saying, the stupid thought. So there is a power for these people in large groups, because I don't know if you all have heard of the 80-20 rule, but the 80-20 rule applies to a lot of different things, but the way, and people use it for a plethora of different things to describe, but the way that I'm using it is 80% of the world is the mass, like, you know, as they would say, the sheeple, the people that just go day to day and, like, you know, just deal with the world as it is. They're victims of the world. They're not actually people that shape the world. And the 20% are the people that are aware, even if they're not particularly shaping the world at all times, but they're aware of what's going on, and they use their energy to craft their own devices and pathways through this world. So, you know, there's a power in ignorance. There's a power in stupidity. It's a power in people not being abreast of certain things and being in certain realms of consciousness. So that's not to be underestimated, you guys. Like, it's been plenty of times where the smartest person was the one that was taken out, because all the people that were stupid or ignorant, they just didn't like the attitude, and they decided to put their ego and all that above, you know, reality and above what actually needed to happen. So they ended up just suffering the cost of whatever it was because of their ego and because of their stupidity. And I'm sure most of them probably felt like, oh well, it is what it is at that point. But even that whole thought is, to me, is a little stupid and ignorant. But, you know, to not be able to, you know, have hindsight and understand things, I think that borderline stupidity and ignorance. But that's unfortunately a large part of life and reality with these people out here in these streets. So, as the quote says, you guys, never underestimate the power of stupid people in large groups. And moving on to our last quote meme for the day. This last one says, showing them your results is much more effective than sharing your plans. plans. Now, while this is true, like, you know, I only believe in sharing plans with people that are in a position to actually help me. Like, it's no need for me to share anything with you if you can't actually do anything about it, to aid or assist or to help manifest whatever it is that I'm planning, which is most people. So I'm not in the business of explaining myself to people in general. I'd rather just show them my results as this, because a lot of times people are always like, how did you do that? And like, if I would have told them, and I've even gone through the phase of telling people things, and it was like, oh no, that's not gonna happen. And then you have to deal with them just like, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. Like, just telling you and crafting narratives and, you know, just projecting their insecurities onto you because they can't do it. That don't have nothing to do with me. So like, for certain people, which is most people, I just show them my results, and that's more effective than sharing my plan to those people. If you're not in a position to help me, you're not going to know the plan. You'll just know at the end of the day what happened. You'll see the results. And for me, that's much more effective than sharing the plan. So I want to know how you guys feel about this one particular, but all of them. Like, you know, are you into sharing your plans and stuff with everybody, or do you think it's much better to just show your results? As far as the first one, who do you stand with? Are you all standing with NATO or Russia or Ukraine or the UN? Are you standing with the people being held hostage by these governments? And last but not least, you know, what do you guys think about the never underestimate the power of stupid people in large groups? You know, these are very interesting quote memes for the week. So you guys let me know how you feel about all this stuff in the comments. And for our last part of spiritual perspectives, we will go ahead and move forward into our astrology section. So first and foremost, let's all say Happy New Year and Happy Aries season. Happy astrological New Year, that is. So this is the beginning of the astrological year. With the start of Aries, it started on the 21st of March. So happy birthday to all my Aries. Happy birthday to all my people out there that's celebrating birthdays in Aries season. So since we're here at the beginning of the new year, the beginning of the zodiac wheel, the beginning of it, we're going to talk a little bit about Aries today. So Aries, it is definitely the first sign of the zodiac wheel. Aries, the glyph, which looks kind of like ram horns, which their animal is the ram, but kind of like ram horns. You know, it's like the two curved things. That glyph, it means I am. It's the first glyph. So it's significant that it means I am. Like literally is the very first thing, the I am. So that's literally what Aries means, and that's the first energy that the zodiac basically pierces into our consciousness with, is with the I am energy. So now that we're here in Aries season, let's talk a little bit about some of the characteristics of the Aries. So Aries energy is active, ambitious, assertive, competitive, courageous, creative, enthusiastic, extroverted, free, individualistic, naive, self-assured. So those are in the light. Those are some things about the Aries that are a lot of their characteristics that you all probably have noticed if you notice anybody with the sun sign in Aries. On the dark side, Aries can be sometimes a little bit too headstrong, impatient, a little bit too prideful, and sometimes too quick-tempered. So that comes with that fire, the kinetic, the start of the fire energy, the spark of the fire energy. Those are some of the things that we can incur as far as just dealing with Aries energy. The ruling planet of Aries is Mars. Mars is their ruling planet. As I said earlier, their element is fire. And here are some other properties just associated with Aries. So as far as professions, colors, gem, the metal, and the plants. So soldier is kind of a profession of Aries, an explorer, a smithy, meaning like a somebody that forges, like a smith, and a leader. Any type of leader. The color of Aries is scarlet. The gem of Aries is garnet. The metal of Aries is iron, and the plant of Aries is basil. So for most people, Aries season, and most Placidus practitioners as far as astrology, Aries goes from March 21st to April 19th. So it kicks off pretty much the springtime of the year, you guys. So Aries is a very strong energy for the year. It's the kickoff of the year. It's the springtime for the year. You know, some people will consider it from March 20th to April 20th. It just depends on how you look at it. So, you know, we are definitely at this point in Aries season. So, you know, happy birthday to all my Aries. And just be mindful, you guys, in the future, I'm going to go more in depth into the signs, the planets in future episodes so that we can have a better understanding and I can refer to certain episodes so you all can have a deeper understanding of the signs and the planets. And, you know, when I say certain things, like for instance, this is the cardinal sign, that's the mode of the Aries sign. I'm going to explain what the different modes of the signs are and what the modes teach and what energy they carry. So Aries is the cardinal fire sign, and we are in Aries season. Happy birthday to all my Aries. And let's go ahead and see what's going on as far as astrology right now, you guys. So right now, as we know, the sun obviously is in Aries. The moon is in Sagittarius. Mercury is in Pisces, Venus is in Aquarius, Mars is in Aquarius, Jupiter is in Pisces, Saturn is in Aquarius, Uranus is in Taurus, Neptune is in Pisces, and Pluto is in Capricorn. So if you guys have been following with my zodiac readings, you will know that everything from Mercury on down is in the same position. So I'm not going to cover the other planets. If you guys are interested to know about what type of energy the other planets are exuding right now, feel free to go to last week's episode and take a listen to what I said about it. And sometimes you might have to keep going back to other episodes too, because some of the outer planets have been in the same positions for a while. So I haven't really covered them in a while. So just keep going back until you've heard everything. You just expand the description and go down to the zodiac, the astrology part, and just listen to it, and you'll get a gist of the energy. But let's talk about the sun and the moon, because those are the two planets that have been in motion right now. They're both two in fire positions. We have the sun in Aries, and we have the moon in Sagittarius. So right now, remember that the sun represents your interpersonal purpose, your inner drive and energy, the source of will and self-motivation, the sense of confidence, strength, and individuality and creativity that you basically wield. So, you know, of course, for Aries, this is going to be a strong season for them, but for the rest of us that aren't Aries, these are just some of the energies that are in the atmosphere that we could be experiencing right now. We could be having a surge of just being powerful in our own personality, whatever that may be. We're also having more of an entrepreneurial spirit right now with the sun in Aries. We're having a lot of ambition and being able to basically self-motivate ourselves right now. That's a lot of Aries energy with the Aries and the sun. But in some ways, we can be a little bit stubborn and obstinate, you know. So that's one thing. So with that Aries stubborn and obstinate energy, we might be a little bit tenacious, just holding on to a lot of things right now with the Aries energy, because, you know, we don't let certain things go sometimes with our Aries energy. So that's something that we're having a lot, and that can work in a positive way too. Keep that in mind. But some of the weaknesses that we might be experiencing with the sun in Aries right now is just a bit of nervousness and impulsiveness, sometimes being a little wasteful, sometimes being very provoking, either being provocative and getting things out of people, or just provoking people to certain outcomes that, you know, just pushing them to pushing buttons. We might be feeling restless and a little bit changeable right now with the Aries energy going around. So keep that in mind, you guys. We got a lot of fire in our sun and moon energy. So, you know, we have some water going on in Mercury, Jupiter, and Neptune. So, and we got some air and some earth going on. So we got all the elements kind of going on right now. So, you know, but in our immediate consciousness, we got a lot of fire energy with that Aries energy and the sun. So let's talk about our moon energy really quickly. So don't forget, the moon represents how you express your purpose in everyday activities through your emotions, attitudes, habits, and your general mood. So your undercurrent, your subconscious. This is how you adapt to your environment, and it's your mothering energy, your undercurrent energy. So right now, the moon is in Sagittarius. So let's see what type of energy is going on with the moon in Sagittarius right now. So right now, in our undercurrent, we might be feeling the need to throw ourselves into some adventure, or like we're really feeling really agile and tough and enthusiastic, like, you know, within we're feeling very exuberant about a lot of things on the inside right now. So that's very good. Attracted to long voyages. We might be thinking about taking long trips right now, like just been a thought in our undercurrent right now, and definitely to discover some things that are unknown. So these are things that's been on in our spirit right now, you guys. Maybe not things that we've all acted on, but just some things that's in our spirit. Some of the weaknesses right now is with that, we're thinking so hard about doing things that we're actually taking risk. Sometimes some things that are very risque, and kind of getting into too many unknown things with the Sagittarius moon energy going on right now. We have a lot of audacity and boldness and rebelliousness right now in our undercurrent. So we're kind of just not wanting to go with the flow right now. Our spirit is just in a state of unrest, and that coupled with the Sun and Aries energy, that can be a lot right now. Unable to stay in one place right now, and being ready to risk everything to achieve a goal. Like, these are some of the weaknesses that we're going through right now with the moon and Sagittarius energy, guys. So everybody's feeling, it's a lot of fire, and Sagittarius, the mutable fire, and we also have the cardinal fire of Aries and the Sun and then the moon. So you guys, you all be very mindful of that. Be encouraged with what's going on right now, but be mindful that it's a lot of fire energy in your conscious reality and in your subconscious. It's a lot of things wanting you to push you forward. So harness that fire to propel you to a good place, you know, and use the rest of the signs that are in the other planets right now to kind of balance those things out, like in the way that you communicate or the way you love or your aggressive tendencies. Really think things through a lot. So if you all want some more information on the other planets, please refer to last week's reading. And if it tells you to refer to another reading, the astrology section, just keep referring back and, you know, expand the comments and just go down. Expand the description and just go ahead and keep going back until you have all the information that you need as far as how to deal with the planetary energy right now. So that sounds good, and we're gonna go ahead and move on to our next section. Oops. But before we do, I almost forgot, you guys, while I was talking about the Sagittarius moon sign. Look, I'm ready to go on an adventure myself with that moon Sagittarius energy. I didn't talk about our moon cycle right now. So guys, we're going into the waning moon. We're about at a waning half moon right now. The full moon energy was so beautiful, you guys, going into this Aries season. It really brought forth a lot of energy. I definitely did a couple of full moon rituals going into the astrological new year. I hope you guys went and harnessed the full moon that just passed a few days ago, and that you're getting prepared to do your waning moon rituals. And you know, we got a new moon coming up on the 1st of April. So we got a couple of more days to get this half waning moon. So just be mindful of our moon calendar, our lunar calendar, and schedule your rituals and your energy and your dates to do things accordingly, because the moon is bringing a lot of good energy right now, and now is a good time to harness, especially for long-term things, whatever you're doing as far as ritualistically, to synchronize with the lunar energy. So now we can move on to our next section, you guys. All right, you guys, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to our next topic for Oba Omi Says Phase 2. So this is our new section, and this new section is our episode topic for the week. So every week I'm gonna take a plethora of all kinds of different topics out the universe and just have some discussion on some key points that I've thought and decided to discuss, and see what you guys out there in virtual reality think about the different things that I'm talking about each week. So this is our new episode, and this is just the first part, some of them will have like part 2s to them, and I might go into depth in multiple episodes because of the section won't be that long in every episode, but you know, it's going to be a main feature of the episodes is the episode topic, so we can actually open up a door of discussion to talk about certain things. So today's topic is an artist's worth. What is an artist's worth? And I'm specifically talking about musical artists, but I'm talking about artists in general because, you know, but I'm catering this specifically to music artists, you know, because art in general has a certain rap in the mass consciousness, and we need to kind of talk about this. So first up, when we talk about an artist's worth, let's go all the way. Let's start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start. So let's start at the beginning. So let's start with education, right? So let's talk about music education. When I was in school many suns and moons ago, we started music education in elementary school. I remember I joined band in 4th grade. You know, and I was in band and chorus and all those things. And I did that all the way up into high school and into college, which eventually I ended up majoring in music. So I took, you know, art to another kind of level. So what I'm noticing, or what I noticed in education, is that, you know, art in general, whether it's visual art, whether it's music, whatever kind of art that we're discussing, especially those two particular ones, those arts are generally considered extracurricular. You know, it's considered something extra. And that's the way the education system is set up, because most of the day at school, you're going to go to all these other classes, reading, writing, arithmetic, history, social studies, all these other things that you may or may not use as you get older, as far as your development and how you relate to people, or even on your jobs. But that's the primary facet of education, is those subjects, right? So they're training you to be an employee, right? Just so basically be able to be a clerk at Walmart or Walgreens or McDonald's or a hotel, or to be a cashier, like, you know, or either to be a teacher and to do exactly what continue this cycle of teaching things. So you know, it's compulsory education. That system is very interesting because it's very cyclical, it's not very evolving or whatever, and it's just interesting. But the interesting part to me is that there are professions in music. However, when it comes to education, it's very little outlets to really train to be an employee for a music profession. Unless it's maybe music education on the collegiate level, but not a music performer, a music composer, a music, you're just an instrumentalist. Now, I'm saying this as a general thing because obviously we know, especially when you get to the collegiate level, there are many schools, even though a lot of those are starting to dwindle now too. There are many schools that prepare you educationally to be a music performer, a music engineer, a music composer, a music teacher, all these different things. And even in other arts facets, is different schools and college that train you to do those things. Now, even before college, you have specialty high schools and middle schools and private schools on the you know, the post-secondary education, the K through 12 system, that they do focus on certain things like music and certain extracurricular activities, and they train people to be certain things that's not particularly in the main facet of the American industries, as far as being a customer service representative or a serviceman or a laborer, a general laborer. But in general, that's what the education system mainly puts out. So that shows you that, you know, people really, this goes into my next point. The way that the education system builds up music and art it makes it something more of an extracurricular. So, you know, when people are in school, a child, like, you might ask the children what do they want to be, and somebody might say, oh, I want to be a rapper nowadays, or I want to be an instrumentalist, maybe back in the early 1900s. I want to be a violin player or a pianist, maybe. But most of the children, you wouldn't really hear saying stuff like that, because, you know, the way compulsory education has been in America, they want you to be a doctor or a lawyer or a pilot or something in one of these service industries or something like that. Like, you know, which, you know, if you really get into a lot of the deeper facets of a lot of these other industries, you know, those are all just cycles and circuits too. Just like the mainstream music industry as well. But what I'm getting at is tying it into what I'm talking about as far as an artist's worth. Compulsory education kind of teaches that music and art is something extracurricular. And yeah, if you really want to get involved in it, send your child to a private school that focuses on that, or go major in that in college. That's the most of an outlet that you're going to get to really understand if you can get into the college, or if you can get your child into the private school before college. So, you know, that just goes to show you that this is something that's extracurricular and something that's not for everybody, even though literally everybody listens to music, enjoys music, and to some degree has a wanting to have music in some realm of their life, whether they want to just listen to it, whether they want to perform it, no matter what they might want to do. So that's the first thing, and that leads to music being extracurricular, and compulsory education leads to my second point. So music in the mass consciousness is considered a hobby for the average everyday person. Forget the fact that there's a whole music and entertainment industry. Forget the fact of all the things that, all the songs in history that have inspired movements, that have done all these things, all the composers throughout history that have rendered their energy to evolve the world in so many ways. Music is still just something that's considered a hobby in the mass consciousness. So much so to the point that, like, you know, in most things, you know, like, let's say for instance church, they're like, oh, okay, well, you know, these people should just do this for the glory of God, so we don't have to pay them, even if that's all that they do. We don't have to pay them to come and play piano, or we'll just hire one, like, lead person that we pay, and they'll organize everybody else to just do this as an extracurricular thing in church. Or like at a lot of events, like at school, they're like, you know, I'll just go ask the singer to come sing the national anthem for this event. As if, like, that's just nothing. Like, anybody over there in, like, you know, if it's a college or if it's a high school, anybody in the chorus can just come and sing this, and, you know, it'll be good. They're just gonna come and do something. Just, you know, just do this, because this is just a hobby. This is nothing that serious, you know. And I'm being a little bit sarcastic, you guys, and I know a lot of people might not consider this to be the case, but in general, in my experience and a lot of experiences of many people that I know that are in the artistic world, not just in music, but all the artistic world, they've experienced this type of sentiment from a lot of people. So in the music world, we definitely experience that sentiment where music is always an afterthought. Now, of course, you have orchestras and things like that, and bigger musical institutions, but even within those institutions, like, let's say the Metropolitan Opera, like, you know, everything becomes now commercialized. So we, instead of focusing on the music, we need this person to play this role in this opera at the Metropolitan Opera, so we can have these optics and sell tickets so that we can make money and keep relevance and all this other type of stuff. It's everything but the music. So it all goes back to this just being something aesthetical. Let's also add that to not only is it extracurricular and it's a hobby, it's something that's just for an aesthetic. It's not really something for the joy of the art or for the joy of the creation of what it is. It's something that's aesthetical. So, you know, that's one thing. So, you know, I feel like in a lot of facets, a lot of industries, in schools, in churches, whether it's the government just randomly just getting Beyonce to come sing for something because, you know, they just want her to come sing. You know, everything, all this is just looked as an afterthought, and we'll just get somebody to do this to make it look nice for an aesthetic. So, this has unfortunately led to a lot of misconstruing of an artist's work. Because, you know, when you think of something that's just aesthetic, that let's take something that's actually aesthetical, like a painting. You know, people don't think about all the work and inspiration and energy that went into the painting. They just like, oh, this looks nice, I want to hang it on my wall. That's how pretty much people feel about musicians and singers. They forget that musicians, singers, instrumentalists, producers, rappers, whatever, they forget that these people are people and they're beings, and they have to put in a certain amount of crafting and work into something in order for it to be the masterpiece that it is, or for you to get the aesthetical result that you want, the aesthetics that you want from the music. So, you know, with us coming from an education system that doesn't really support the arts and considers things like music a hobby, and narrows the educational world down so far to have it so narrow that only a certain amount of people will have this type of training to do something in music, we forget the actual amount of time it takes to create quality in art, specifically music. You know, we forget that, okay, we want to have a nice sounding choir perform a song, but we forget that that choir has to rehearse. That choir has to learn the music. That choir has to blend well. They have to harmonize well. They have to have certain understandings of it so they can read the notes. They have to learn things in order to be able to effectively do it. Now, these things, I can go on and on for days of things that you would need to do in order to have a music piece be the aesthetical quality that someone would want it, the type of quality that they would want it. But I'm going to suffice it to say that it can take hours, days, weeks, months, and years to create the types of things that people can just pop in a CD, if this was like about a couple of decades ago, or just go to YouTube and press play on. Nobody knows the type of energy and the hours and the time and the tenacity that goes into creating this. All we know is the after effect and how we feel, and the aesthetical feeling that we feel from experiencing the music. So I think this is very sad and unfortunate, you know, that we're kind of programmed from, you know, education as a youth to look at something that literally helps the world spin, helps evolve the world, the sounds, the music, the intonation, the vibrations of these musical pieces that literally nations and children and ideas and movement in the world was spawned off these sounds, off this music. How many children were born to songs? How many thoughts were conceived through songs? How many pieces inspired a movement that changed the face of the earth? How many of these things happened? Yet, in this age in America, we're programmed to think that, oh, we just need to like put a little band together so they can play for the football team, or let's just call a singer over here to do this, or like when it comes to art, like let's just get somebody to paint us a piece, a little mural or something so we can put up here, or let's get somebody to do an interpretive dance. Like, we forget what it takes to actually achieve the type of aesthetic that is the quality that is of the same quality of the things that inspired you from the art that inspires you. Because art is necessary. Art reflects life, or life reflects art, you know, in different ways you can look at that. That's a two-sided coin. So music reflects life. Life reflects music. So to create the types of things that you as an individual, anybody as an individual would like, it takes energy, it takes time, it takes focus to get these types of things, to get these creations. So, you know, to kind of sum it up what I'm saying, you know, I think I've kind of hit on a lot of the points that I really wanted to make. It might seem a little bit disjunct, but if I have to kind of surmise everything that I've said, or what I feel, or what I'm trying to express to you all, is that the world that we live in, from education on up, disregards art and music and what it takes to create art and music, all the way down to the education systems where they're taking music out of the schools, taking music out of extracurricular, making it less important, making all arts less important. So we forget, and then, like, you know, we listen to the radio now, it's like, why do all these songs sound the same? And why are all these artists just sampling music from like 5 decades ago? And why are all these artists getting sued for stealing music, basically? Because there's nothing evolving about music right now, because we as a society have forgotten what it takes to foster the energy to create the quality and the evolution of what we want as art or as music. We've forgotten that as a society, which goes into what I'm saying about the artist's worth. So, artists, we're lowballed, no matter what kind of artist, whether you're an actor, whether you're a dancer, a painter, a singer, an instrumentalist, whatever type of art you do. We're lowballed because people look at creative things like that as something aesthetical and extracurricular and a hobby. Even though, like, movies have millions and millions of dollar budgets and it takes all these people to do it, even though music productions, as far as albums, take so many hours, and producers and all these things, even though something as simple as a church choir takes rehearsal so that they can know the songs for the Sunday service, we forget that these things, it takes energy. So an artist is worth as much as you would pay, especially depending upon the quality of the art, as much as you would pay somebody an hour to build a house, to a plumber, like in the union that gets paid like $20-something an hour or $30 an hour, like a brick mason that gets paid a lot for the craft of laying brick, which is a very laborious and technical task that takes a lot of knowledge to do all these things. Music is kind of the same way, especially the different types of music that you may want. If you want a classical singer to do something, that's going to take days, weeks, a lot of hours to prepare those things at the same precision that it would take a brick mason to lay bricks for a structure that's supposed to stand for years and years and years. So when you're thinking about, you want to hire a singer, and, you know, pay it that everybody is on different levels. And yeah, you know, some brick masons, when we're comparing it to that, some are not as experienced with it as other people are, but some are. So based upon what you want, just begin to think about that. Even if it's an amateur artist or an amateur musician, think about the fact that they have to take time and energy to basically produce what you want, the song that you want. Even if they're just singing one song, they're going to have to rehearse it. They're going to have to put energy and time into making it the way that it's going to be aesthetically pleasing to you as the person that's paying for it. So remember what an artist's worth is. If you want to get a classical singer to do something, like even just to sing one song, in my opinion, it's not acceptable to be like, oh, okay, well, I want you to do one song in the program and we have $50 to pay you. That's not acceptable. Because in a lot of ways, that's kind of disrespectful to the energy and the time and the tenacity that a classical singer has to put into developing their craft for you to lowball them like that. Even if it's an R&B singer or a gospel singer or any kind of singer that rehearses and has had years of preparation to get their voice, and hours and days and months of preparation to get their voice to where it is, honor that and pay them what they're worth. Like, you know, a lot of people are in different professions and they have a ticket price for whatever it is that they offer. People are, You know, they might offer like a service as a lawyer to consult. They might offer a medical service, a cosmetic service or something. And they're going to want to be paid top dollar for what it is that they do. But when it comes to a musician or any kind of artist, we want to pay pennies on the dollar for that. No matter how great or how skilled, how much skill it might take to produce that type of music or that type of art. We want to pay pennies on the dollars for that. Why do we do that? Why? Why do we lowball artists? Why do we pretend that the things that they do are just extracurricular and just hobbies? When we know we want to really be thoroughly entertained. And to thoroughly entertain somebody takes a certain level of skill, quality, time, and rehearsal and energy that takes out of people's days and lives. Why do we pretend that that's not a thing? That's my challenge for you guys in this particular episode topic, is to consider an artist's worth and what they're really worth, because at the end of the day, the only thing we all have is just time, and we're all spending it. So as you go about pursuing artists to do different things, no matter what the art is, really take a look at yourself and what you do and how much you would charge for the thing that you do best. And then compare that to what you're offering to the artist, which is doing a thing more than likely that they do best. And just make sure that harmonizes right. You know, consider those things, because art is not extracurricular. Art is not a hobby. Art, music, dance, theater, visual art, all these things are the things that make the world spin, whether you want to believe it or not. But that it is what it is. And we need to start acknowledging that, or else we're going to be stuck in this age where we're watching the same movie, seeing the same dance, having all the paintings look alike, and hearing all the same songs on the radio, sampling things from years and years ago for the rest of our lives. So that is our topic for today. I want you guys to really think about that and challenge yourselves as far as knowing what an artist's worth is. Think about that, and please commit yourself to paying an artist and giving them the type of, not just paying them, but reciprocating the energy that they are worth to them. And that's what I got for today's episode topic, you guys. Now we're going to go ahead and move right on along to our next section. And last but not least, we have our energy reading section for today's episode. In this section, we're going to continue to do the monthly Mare D Lagoon at the top of the month. So look forward to that at the beginning of the month. But this week, we're still just going to do our card reading as we usually do every week. And we're going to read from the cards for Inner Ascension, created by my soul sister, Sunni Patterson. The link is in the bio if you are interested in purchasing this deck of cards, so that you too can be able to pull with the universal energy and spirit guides to see what affirmation comes to you through this deck. So let's go ahead and get into our energy reading for today, and we're going to pull a card. And for today, we have pulled My Heart is Well Cared For. My heart is well cared for. The message that's really coming through to me is for those individuals right now that are feeling that, you know, some people around them, I know for some instances it might be their children, for some people it might be their significant others. They may be feeling unloved, or that their feelings and their heart isn't being taken into consideration. But one thing that many of you all need to hear is that your heart is well cared for, meaning that you do a very excellent job of guarding your heart. So despite of who's around you and however they're treating you, your heart is still well cared for. Some of you know that you're around people that, you know, if it's a significant other, you know that they're going through certain things or have certain communication issues. So in this particular instance, not to say it couldn't be, but in this instance, it's more of a situation where some of the things in the communication that you're going through is not that they don't care or it's not that they're trying to be insensitive. It's just more so that they're going through some things as well. But your heart is well cared for, primarily by yourself. In the instance of children, I think some people may be going through different things with their children, and it's coming off as if their children may not like them or love them or whatever, but that's not particularly the case. The children are going through certain things as well, and they're growing into themselves, so the way they're communicating might not be the best at this moment, but you need to know that what you do for yourself and the way that you're treating yourself, your heart is very well cared for. So because your heart is well cared for, if you are in a situation that's adverse to this, and it's not a situation of just communication or just you having young children, or just some people are just going through things to the point that they're just a little insensitive right now, you have the discernment to know whether or not that's that kind of situation, or whether or not it's a situation where it's just miscommunication and you're misinterpreting things, because you care for your heart. So continue to care for your heart in the way that you need to. That way you can know when you need to move forward, or when you need to involve yourself with people or remove people from around your surrounding. So just keep that in mind, that your heart is well cared for. The ancestors and the spirit guides that walk with you are holding your heart. They're around you. They're giving you strength. They're giving you energy. So feel that energy, feel that strength right now, and feel your own spirit filling your heart, knowing that your heart is well cared for, despite what's going on around you externally. People love you, your children love you, your significant other does love you, and if not, you will know that, and you will do what you need to do to make sure that your heart is cared for. Period, point blank. So take this message and go forward and do likewise. All right, guys. Well, we've made it to the end of the first episode of Phase 2 of Oba Omi Says. I hope you all like this new format of the show that we're going to be in Phase 2. And I hope you guys are vibing with it. I want you guys to give me some feedback. Let me know if there's any topics or anything that we discussed that you really like from Phase 1 that you want me to bring back. Let me know if it's anything that you want me to add to it. So, this is how it's going to be going for a little while until we get to the next phase of Oba Omi Says. So definitely you guys give me some feedback on what you think about the new format of the episode. But other than that, I want you guys to have a really good week. We have a lot of positive messages, a lot of beautiful energy coming through. And, we're at the beginning of our new astrological year. There's a lot of fire energy, kinetic energy springing us forward into a beautiful future and beautiful reality going on. So keep the energy high, keep the vibe high, you guys, as we move forward into the rest of the year. And just continue to just be blessed, continue to just evolve, continue to elevate in all your endeavors. And just keep all these things in mind that we talked about. We talked about a lot of interesting things today. So keep all these things in mind. And we're definitely going to get into some more things as we continue to go into Phase 2 of Oba Omi Says. So up until the next time we all meet again, you guys, Oba Omi over and out.